Hello there people, this is Bruce Cool or nintenbruce here, and I do apologise if you can hear my grisly voice over the microphone. I've got some sort of weird illness with me and it has affected my throat, so we'll see if I've got any voice by the end of this video. But either way, as you see, I've got something a little different with me today. I'd like to thank the YouTube user Occultin for bringing this to my attention quite quickly. It is the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list for the new year. Now, usually I wouldn't touch this sort of thing. I personally can't be bothered to look until the couple of days when I know a ban list is going to take effect. But as I've received it so early and I thought, well, maybe some of you guys don't know about the new ban list, I thought I'd explain it with you, alert you guys. I'll also express my feelings on the cards, and hopefully we can have a discussion about it in the comments below as well. So there's a couple of things I'd like to say about this ban list. Ban lists in general now, I've got a good feeling about them with this whole new quarterly rotation. So instead of it being every 6 months before something's reviewed, it's now every 3 months, and it looks like this is working out for Konami, or the game anyway, where they can make changes on one set, only give it 3 months and then see what else is too OP or ridiculous, and make the subtle changes there. I do say subtle. I will say straight away this ban list is aimed mostly at the elemental dragons, which who can blame them? Elemental dragons, even without the baby support, they're still running rampant, probably the most played deck of this meta. Something had to happen with them, and it had to be one of two things. Pardon me, I do apologise guys. It either had to be the elemental dragons got extremely restricted, or it had to be a lot of the support got just taken away, really, like completely banned. Unfortunately, they've done a bit of both, which annoys me about certain cards and can damage certain deck types, but you know what, this is the way they're going, and I can see why they've done it. But again, they can see any mistakes or anything else which is still broken in the next 3 months. So let's go through it, shall we? Going straight through that banned list, or the forbidden rather, you now have Dragon Ravine completely gone. Now, I must admit, this was a little bit of a surprise to me. I did expect it to get a little bit of a restriction, not just for E-Dragons, but quite a lot use it. I mean, you got Dragoonities, which was what they were mainly for, I believe, as well as Chaos Dragon, certain other type of dragon deck. Yeah, Dragon Ravine can be like splashed in quite a lot of them. But yeah, I didn't expect the complete ban on it. But there we have it now. Unfortunately, Dragoonities, I won't say they're useless, but they have been heavily restricted and it is unfair to them. But it is for the greater good, and we'll see if there can be any changes or anything else for Dragoonities in the future. We'll see, we'll see. Moving on then, going into the traps now, Return from the Different Dimension. I'm both happy and sad about this one. I do like using it as a side deck card most of the time. And obviously it's always nice to special summon out everything and then XYZ summon, synchro summon, not really have any consequence apart from half your life points. And things, half your life points sounds like a lot, but if you're coming to the end of your life point stream, only paying 1,000 life points to go completely ballistic is a small cost, and you can never truly run out of life points with this card. So I can understand the ban. It will make the deck format better, and with the E-Dragons that are left, again, they can't be special summoned out ridiculously, as well as Chaos decks as well. This is going to hit. Yeah, very understandable that this got banned. Now, this one was a bit of a shock to me, although I can see where they're coming from. Self-destruct button, gone from just 3 of a kind, that's ridiculous, unrestricted, to just banned. And the reason for that, I believe, is that Konami just don't want any results in a draw, in a nutshell. So for those of you that don't know what it does, I think it's something like if there's 7,000 life point damage between you, or you're at 1,000 and the opponent's at a certain amount, then you just activate it and both players lose. Simple as that. It's a pointless deck. Fun, don't get me wrong, I do love going against these sorts of things, but it was pointless. There was no real need for it, and in tournament play it's just ridiculous, isn't it? So again, I can see where they're coming from, and there's no substitute for self-destruct button to my knowledge, so a bit of a shame there. Self-destruct button guys are going to have to go for something else now. And now the card that I am not surprised about in the least, 6 cents. My days, what a ridiculous card. For those of you that haven't even bumped into it yet, well, I'll be very surprised. Yes, it was restricted to 1, but you activate it and then you call 2 sides of a dice. Everyone chooses 5 and 6. Everyone, you know, I haven't noticed anyone else go for any other numbers. And what happens is, you roll the dice, and if you hit one of those figures that you shouted, then you draw that amount of cards. And obviously 5 or 6 is a ridiculous advantage. But on top of that, the negative effect was actually helping out a lot of decks more so. So whether it be Lightsworn, Chaos, again, E-Dragons, the number you shout, you dump that amount of cards from the top of the deck into the graveyard. You know, where is the disadvantage? There was none. I am not sorry for 6 cents being banned whatsoever. What a ridiculous card, seriously. So, going to the restricted now, or limited rather, as already explained, it has hit the Dragon Rulers, so all of them, that's Blaster, Tempest, Tidal, Redox, you're now only allowed 1 of each, so E-Dragons, I don't want to use the word dead because these can still be used in things like, for example, Blaster can be used with Fire Fists, obviously Redox in Earth types, Tidal can be used in the Abyss guys, or Mermails rather. Yeah, they've still got life in them, but they can still be ridiculous if there was any more than 1. And to a degree, they're still unexpected. We'll see how the format pans out. I think this is a good move, even though I'm sorry to see certain cards go, i.e. Dragon Ravine and stuff like that. I think this is for the best, definitely for the best of this format. Going into Debris Dragon now. This one was a little bit of a shock to me. I guess people are loving the synchro decks too much. Gone from 2 to 1. Yeah, I can see that they're trying to change the game up a little bit. I mean, it can be a ridiculous special summoning out something with 0 attack, whether it be your Bell or something to do a quick XYZ summon. Things that weren't intended for. So I think they're testing the water here to see what happens when they reduce it to 1. Debris Dragon will still be played in decks. Definitely, it's a nice effect, you know. I'm not quite sure what it would hit. It was mainly synchro decks, obviously, but there are plenty of other things you can do in synchro decks. And this one's a shock to me. I never thought I'd see this again. Magician of Faith. Haven't seen this in years, guys. Absolutely years. And all it is like Mask of Darkness, where once it's flipped face up, then you get a spell card from the graveyard to your hand. Now, obviously the advantage of Magician of Faith over Mask of Darkness was that spell cards can obviously be played a lot quicker than traps. You know, traps you primarily had to wait 1 turn unless you had some weird effect going on. But I think they're testing the water with it. Thing is, there's a lot that's gone on since Magician of Faith has been banned, i.e. tons of special summoning, things which can blow up the field instantly. And if you think about it, Magician of Faith, you still have to set it, so you're still giving the opponent an opportunity to just blow it up. So I think this is an interesting decision. I don't think it's going to affect the format too much. It will help out spellcasters a little bit, those who run Apprentice Magician and those who rely heavily on spells. But yeah, I think this is it'll be interesting to see if people make any loopholes with this, or just use it for what it's intended. A fair, you know, card. It's a weak card in general and just gets you a spell back. Now, moving on into the spells, we've got Divine Wind of Mist Valley. From what I can see, since the release of the new Harpies, there have been a lot more loopholes with it in terms of causing OTKs and whatnot, especially with Ancient Fairy Dragon. So I think it's mainly because of that. Yes, there's a lot of cards which can use Divine Wind of Mist Valley's effect, and yeah, I think this is just, again, to restrict the OTK. So, not too surprised by this. 1 is fair, I'd say. 1 is definitely fair. Now, this is something interesting. 1 Final Countdown. Gone from 3 to 1. Now, the question is Final Countdown dead? You know, trying to search for that 1 card in 40 is quite hard, you know. I mean, yes, there's things like Gold Sarcophagus and that, I think it's different dimension capsule card as well. But yeah, there's not too many searches going on for it. So we'll see if this has killed Final Countdown this format and see if they bring it up to 2 next format. I personally haven't had a problem with Final Countdown. There's so much popping going on the field with certain decks now that it gets rid of a lot of stall opportunities. So, we'll see what happens, eh? We then have 1 Sacred Sword of 7 stars. That again, a little bit surprised about, because elemental dragons have been hit tremendously now. But with the right hand, you know, even with 2, you can go ridiculously plus and special summon and activate effects, etc, etc. So we'll see if people, well, people will still play 1 Sacred Sword of 7 stars, without a doubt, but obviously in certain decks. See if that changes in the future. And then 1 Spellbook of Fate. Now, although I haven't bumped into spellbooks recently, I've heard a lot of abuse going on, I'd say, where you can get Spellbook of Fate back and just instantly remove something off the field. Some people were even comparing it to Spellbook of Judgment, which, you know, that was a heavy card, especially draw power wise. So yeah, Spellbook of Fate going down to 1, I think that's fair. You know, you can't have too many loops in terms of if you've got 3 in your hand, or you know what, 1 is fair. We'll see what happens, we'll see what happens. Okay, going into the semi-restricted, or semi-limited rather. So we then have Chaos Sorcerer. I think that's alright. You know, it's no BLS for certain. And it's still a cost of sending things from the graveyard to remove from play, you know. So we'll see if people will use that second Chaos Sorcerer or not. Lone Fire Blossom rather. I think this is fair, going from 1 to 2 because of Debris Dragon going essentially. So for plant synchros, this is their other option in a nutshell. I think that's what the intention was there, and I see no problem with this. And now moving into the unrestricted, we've got Archlord Christia. I haven't seen fairies too oftenly played, and you know what, it is an anti-meta card for those who can use it. Mizuki and Plague Spreader for the zombie decks. Obviously they were very welcome when going from 1 to 2 in the last format, and yeah, they still don't go ridiculously crazy, so I think this is very, very fair, certainly fair. We'll see if anyone has complete abuse. Plague Spreader Zombie you can't, because of the extra cost involved of not discarding a card but returning it to the top of the deck. But yeah, Mizuki, very nice indeed. We then have TG Striker. I didn't see this getting abused, so going from 2 to 3, I figure it's, you know, fair game really. Tour Guide from the Underworld. I think this is a worthy replacement for Sangan for those Fiend decks which like searching out level 3 level 3 levels. That doesn't make sense. This is obviously my illness speaking now, but you guys know what I mean. It gives you extra options to sync or rather XYZ summon easily. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Constellar Ptolemy M7, very fair I think. It was, I won't say it was hard to bring out the Synchro, or rather the XYZ monster, but you know what, I didn't see many of them being played either. As far as I'm aware, you can't really abuse this. So going from 2 to 3 is no, or sorry, from 1 to 3 is no change in my book rather. Now this is something I'm a little bit surprised about. Fire Formation Tenki going from 2 to 3. Essentially it's a free draw for the deck types that use it. I mean, yeah, the attack boost 100, that's nothing really, but it's mainly all about that free draw, searching for the card you need to punish your opponent really, or counter them. We'll see if this changes in the next format. That'll be the one decision that I think is wrong overall. And that sounds quite harsh comparing it to a lot of the other things there, but Fire Formation Tenki, we'll see if Fire Fists run rampant, see if the beast types run rampant. I think as well, I forgot to say, that this was bumped up to 3 to also help out the, not Yamato, what are they called? The Bujin archetype, because with this you can get the key card Yamato out. So we'll see if Tenki gets abused quite heavily. Yeah, overall though, I think it's a solid ban list, you know, some key decisions being made there, and I think it's going to be a lot fairer for the format. I am quite surprised that Mermails didn't get hit, because they can be ridiculous, just special summoning out a 2700 attacker monster quite easily, or blowing things up instantly. Well, I think Mermails will definitely be the, I won't say the game changer, but those who rely heavily on just pure wins are going to go from E-Dragons to Mermails. See what happens in the format and see what happens in 3 months, shall we? So, like I've already asked, pop your comments in the section below. Let's have a little discussion of this. For those who want to cover anything I've missed as well, let's bring it up, you know, help each other out here. I think it's solid. What do you guys think? So, until next time guys, you take care, and I will see you again soon.